we're back.
We're back, and it's
We'll
cold out. That's
as cold as
why we're doing this over
it
over Zoom.
sickles. It's cold.
It is
The
cold.
only
It's like
person that could warm me up is Riddick.
God, I love him. I swear to God.
Since
So
that's what we're on today, that's where my mind is at. I'm like,
exactly,
warm me
exactly.
up, sir.
hmm It's gonna be fun. So
Oops.
obviously we are gonna be talking about Fourth Wing and Iron Flame.
Yes,
Little combo action going
we'll
on
do a
in
little
this one,
duo.
and then we will get to Onyx Storm because that just came out. We read it pretty quick.
I was like, bitch, come over.
We had a
Come
day.
read
We're
with
like, we
me.
gotta keep reading. We gotta finish this.
My husband's downstairs, like, shh,
Be
shh.
quiet. I'm still listening.
I'm still listening. I'm not where you guys are. All right.
It's days like this. It's like when you try to come back from like a vacation and then you try to come back to work, you're like, what do I even do?
I don't know how to like type or do my job. Like, I don't know anything.
No.
Yeah, good thing this is not our jobs.
It's just a nice little hobby, unless it wants
Unless
to
somebody
turn
wants
into
to
a job.
sponsor us, like
Hey,
Barstool.
somebody want to
Hey,
sponsor so we can do this full time? That'd be great. I would love to be paid to
I would
like
love.
just read and review. Oh my God.
Come on.
Oh,
Yes,
life would be
absolutely.
complete, please. Yeah, today's
Uh,
about Fourth Wing and Iron Flame. A lot
I'm
of people have
gonna
already read it, obviously,
I'm gonna
but
start showing covers
oh
if we have
yes,
the book. If not, I'm gonna go ahead and just put it up there. Fourth Wing. She's a beaut, I will
yes she
say.
is.
And then we'll get into Iron Flame. This bitch was a door stopper. Like,
Yes,
I mean, Iron Flame was big. Like, there was a
yeah,
lot going on.
yep.
But yeah, so
Fun,
this is what we're gonna
fun.
review today. Boop, boop, boop.
Yay! Oh yeah, and you're gonna
Oh,
hear my kid in the background probably sometimes. So
maybe,
FYI
maybe,
to listeners,
maybe.
just because
We'll
it's a
see.
snow day. Well, not a snow day technically, but no school today.
One of those days.
So we're back to Basgaius. I'm probably gonna mess up so many words because I say them so differently in my brain
I
when
think
reading.
all of her readers
Oh
do.
my,
And then we like will listen to the audible and I'll be like, what? That's
that's how
not what
you
I
say it?
was, it's not how I was saying it in my head.
Not at all.
So,
Not at all. But
I mean,
yeah.
the first two books I just called Andarna Goldie. So, like,
Yep.
regardless, I
Just
mean,
Goldie.
she was just Goldie for me.
I was calling say like what was it? I think I was just saying Sagel. And it's
Yeah,
Seagal.
the Gale, yeah. Like there was quite a few, like especially when it gets to like the different locations and yeah, it's just and then there's so many names by the
Oh
time we
yeah.
get to Onyx Storm. I'm like, who, what, where
Yeah.
are we talking about? Like, is it a person? Is it, we'll get there when we get there because it gets
Exactly.
wild. Like Fourth Wing was pretty like clear cut and dry for the
hmm
most part. It took me a long time to read it. I didn't read it until Onyx Storm was about to come out. And I sat down and
That's
like read all
right.
of them. Yeah, so and you were like, just read it.
Just read it. Like I love the whole fantasy, like dragons, and they
Yeah,
talk.
first I didn't know how it was gonna feel, right?
True.
And then this book just starts like, and they're at the parapet basically. Well, like she's getting reamed. Violet is about, from her mom.
Oh
And
yeah.
she's pushed to the parapet, and it's kind of like, okay, we're gonna just pop off.
Yep. And I
Go,
love
Queen.
how, and I've seen interviews with Rebecca of like, and she actually shows and like gives the dimensions of the parapet. And I'm thinking it's like a balance beam.
I know it's much
It's
bigger,
eight
but
inches wide,
it's
but
the height
still.
and it's the wind and the people maybe running after you. Fucking Jack
Jack
Barlow.
Barlow.
I will square up with Jack
Oh yeah.
Barlow any day. I did not hate any person more in
Yeah.
this book and an Iron Flame
Yes.
than I did Jack Barlow. And I hated a few people, but that mother,
Yeah. Mhm.
like, good for her again for making me feel such a way
Yes.
about characters. But yeah,
You
because
get
we meet
so
him
invested.
right away, and right away is like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna kill you, Violet. Like, it's like
Yes.
chasing her parapet, and I'm
But
like,
I also love, like, especially with the parapet scene and they're going through, like, she's throwing in these extra characters that
yes,
obviously, like, they don't make it. They're just
nope,
for that point of showing, like, the parapet
how
does,
dangerous.
how dangerous it
Yeah.
is, and they keep going, and so leading to that point, it was like, oh, like, what was it? The guy, I forget his name, but it was that guy who had the ring on the necklace. And like I thought he
Oh,
was gonna be a little
yes.
character, and then he gets across the parapet and whoop falls off. And I'm like, no,
No,
he was gonna
not
get
you
married.
already. I know. It's wild.
Yeah.
So just to like back up a bit, like,
Yep.
so we have Violet, Sora, and Gale, and it's like con conscription day. Am I
Conscription day.
saying
Yep.
that right?
Yep.
And she like thinks she's gonna be a scribe because like that's what her dad did and that's what she trained for, and she's like this weak, frail little,
Yeah, this whole time she was thinking she's gonna go under the scribe, and then her mom bust in.
yeah. And it's like you're gonna do what your siblings Mira did, and
Brennan.
thank you, Brennan did, and this bitch is like,
What?
excuse me?
My
And even
bones be
Mira,
brittle.
yeah, even Mira is like,
What are you
what,
doing?
mom? But like they know, like, because their mom is the general, right? Or
General.
no.
Yes. She's higher up, and oh my god, I want to say she's the general.
Yeah, she is the general of
Yeah.
like Navarre's army.
Yeah.
And we are gonna mess these words up, so forgive
Stay with
us.
us. Stay with us here.
Stay with us. Yeah, so like Violet packs her bag and like Mira's like, you can't take all the like it's like such good sibling stuff,
Yes.
but she does give her like, some advice and whatnot, and that's how like Violet meets is I call her Rhiannon.
I think it is Rhiannon, Rhi.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah,
well,
Rhi.
side note, while Mira is helping her pack and whatnot, she gives her Brennan's because little sidetrack there. It's like Brennan
Yes,
is dead. Um, and but he wrote a book for Mira to like help
get
her get through, and
through.
then Mira passed it on to Violet. So this all
Yes.
comes into play as
And
well.
even like as they're walking up, like Mira's like, stay away from Zayden Ryerson.
Yes.
And she's like, I wouldn't want to talk to him anyway. Like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, like whatever, you know.
Yeah.
Haha, joke's on you, girl. Joke's on you. Um, but yeah, so
I
she
love
meets
Zayden.
Ree, and like I immediately was like, I cannot have Ree die
Oh
when
yeah.
Violet switches the shoe because she
Mhm.
realizes like Ree will slip because it's raining, and like she explains this to Ree, and they switch shoes, and like,
Become instant besties.
yeah, like instant besties. It's like it was the cutest thing ever. So like these whole books, I'm like, if anything happens to Ree, I will lose
You
it.
have you read these and like they get into their own squads once they get across, and then
Yes,
of course there's different trainings, different things, but this entire time, like you could die at any moment. The only
moment.
the only thing that really saves them is like whoever's in your squad, you can't kill them. But other
Yes,
squads, well,
can
different
kill
squads
you.
can. So it's like a
Yes. And that's like after they cross the parapet,
yes,
right? Then they all like line up, and she meets Zayden.
yes,
He's at the end of the parapet after she just ran for her life from Jack. And like that scene was badass where she like has the
yes,
dagger at his balls. I was like, oh shit.
yes. Like
And
come
like
for me, dude.
Zayden's like, I'm gonna kill you. And she was like,
Uh,
oh my goodness. Like,
like
okay.
like
So
right
yeah, they
now.
get to the school, and like, of course, like Jack makes it too, because like I already said, I just hate him.
Yeah.
But when she gets there, like while they're doing the quadrants and
Mhm.
stuff, she sees Dane, her like lifelong like friend, and
Childhood
like,
bestie.
childhood bestie, because their parents both traveled together
Yeah,
because his dad,
works with
what
mom. Like his
what
under
is
mom.
Yeah, like right under mom.
Yeah.
So like pretty high up. And he's like, you need to go back to the quadrant. Like you're not supposed to
Trying to
be
get her
here.
out.
And at
He
first she's kind of like,
Dane
okay,
annoys like right off the bat, he annoyed me. Like I thought, oh, this would be a little cute, like that's a little romance, but like how much he was pushing for her to go into
not
the
loving it.
scribe. I'm like, just
Nope.
leave her alone. Let her overcome this. Like, what is your
Yes.
deal? But then like you find out later that, what his signet is, like they all get powers, right? Like
Mhm.
after threshing, which is
Yes.
that's when the dragons choose you.
Choose. And like you have like some time to get your powers. But I
Yeah.
mean, we can say what his is, but he's a type of
And
intistic,
Chisnet. And
intisnic, which is like a brain reader, but he can only like do it if he like
when he
touches
touches your face.
you. Yeah, so like looking back at the amount of times that he like touched Violet, it was
Yes.
like, were you like, ooh, ooh,
Ugh,
like,
like how many times did this happen?
yes. So like that was kind of fucked.
Yeah.
Doesn't she get put in Dane's squad at first, and then
Yes,
Zayden's
she
like,
did.
no, no,
It was a different squad. Or
yes.
I
So
want to
they,
say it was still Fourth Ring, but like Zayden wasn't with Fourth Wing, so they swapped it. I can't fully remember on all of that, but like I remember there was like some swapping going on, and Dane was like, "Oh shit," because now Zayden's that wing leader.
yes, and that was a mess
Yeah,
because yeah. And then there's like Amber Mavis is like
yeah,
already wanting to like kill Violet too.
yeah.
She's like, girl, I've been here like a
A day,
day
all
and
because of
I
who
got
her mom is.
yep, and she's a dead giveaway because her silver hair. I guess we should
Hmm.
like mention that. She
Oh yeah,
has
because
like
it's like the black or whatever brown
into
and then
like
silver.
silver, no matter like what length she cuts it, it's always silver. Um, but yeah, so then like they do threshing.
Yeah.
Can you hear
Well, no,
that?
because like they had to do like the gauntlet. Like they had their training. Then they had like a walkthrough. I think after they went through the gauntlet, which they lost a few other people. And then they had those challenges where anyone could challenge. But Violet, because of Brennan's book, got a little ahead. It was like poisoning her. Like she found out who would kind of be challenging.
Yes,
Went
like they were
behind and
like,
started poisoning.
there's a list. Yeah. And she's like,
Yeah. That was sneaky. And she did good. She still broke some bones here and there, but like that was smart.
she did
Way
a
to go,
good
Brennan.
job. But like that when she's out foraging for her poisons, that's when she first finds out that like Xaden is up to no good.
With the marked ones.
Shadow daddies with the marked ones, and they're not supposed to be in groups of more than like three.
3. Yeah.
Yeah, so and there's like a cluster. But then she's listening and she's like, that does not like he's
There's
offering to like
something
help.
nefarious going on.
Yeah, he's like offering to help them with their studies, and then he's basically like, "What are you doing here?" And she,
Yeah. Ooh, I'm dead.
like, and then she's like, "When are you gonna kill me?" Because like I'm kind of
I'm
tired of
tired of
waiting.
waiting.
He's like, "I don't know. It's no fun if you know when it's coming." And you're like, "Why do
Such
I
a
like this
tease.
dude?" But yeah, so then they have their like threshing,
Yes.
right? So that's when they get to like meet or present themselves to the dragons, right?
Yeah.
Or
Well, no, no,
that's
because that was,
presentation day is when they walk.
and like they have to
And
be like 7 feet apart because these
yes,
dragons, if they do not find you worthy, you're toast.
poof.
Literally.
Yeah, like we see it happen and
Yeah.
like it's like just ash,
Yes.
and like you just step on over, just
Yep. And there's the blues, the oranges, the reds, all different type of tails as well.
tails. Yeah.
And they each have their different meaning and what's going on. And yeah.
And that
Someone
gets
was like
like
talking mad shit.
so
And one of the
detailed.
oranges was like, hey,
Yes.
dead.
And then you've got Jack Barlow like, what's up with that small little gold one? And they're like, shut up, bro. And
Bro,
I'm like,
yeah.
toast him, toast him,
Toast
toast.
him.
No.
Well, like he
Okay.
wasn't even there the first time because remember they had like two. There was like one that kind of like walked through. and it was
Yes.
fine, and because Taryn
They had to
wasn't
go
there yet.
there and like back or whatever.
Yeah. And so
Hmm.
it's like, yeah, you kinda see what's going on. Everyone's like, "What is with this fucking dragon?"
What? Yeah.
It is great, and then you actually get to the threshing part
Yeah.
where
And
it's like,
that's
now you have to try to fend for yourself, number 1, against
in
these
the
dragons
forest.
in the forest, against the dragons and these other squads because they're
Quads.
still
Yeah.
trying to take out the weakest link. So it's like and then Violet's over here like, "Okay, I just have to, like, make it through, see if a dragon
Hmm.
wants me," because if a dragon doesn't, they can just fry your ass right then and
Yeah.
there.
They can just toast you. Like they don't have to let you go.
So then she
And
starts hearing Jack and the little buddies like, "We're gonna go take her out." She's like, "Great, they're coming for me." No, they're trying to go for Andarna.
Goldie and Darna. Yeah. They're like the little fucking small one. Like, dim, 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 dim. And it's
Yep.
like, dude, because then like that's when Taryn appears.
Yeah,
And
because Violet's over here like, "You gotta run. You have to
yeah,
go." And
she's
Goldie's
like,
just like,
she's like, fly away. And Goldie's just like, and she's like, are those paws?
"Pause.
Like, you
There's
don't even
no
have
claws."
claws? Like, oh my. She's like, I am forked. Um, so then Tynan, like, or Taryn,
Aaron.
like gets out with like Orin and like whoever else Tynan is out there.
Yeah.
And they like run away and that's great.
Yep.
And
Well,
then
no,
Zayn
they don't even run away, like, Jack's like, "I'm still gonna get you," so they all start going after Violet. Violet
yes,
then, like, takes out one of them, or takes out
yes,
2 of them, and then that's when Terrence is like, boom, and
boom,
Violet's like, "I'm dead. I'm dead."
I'm dead. Yeah,
Because
I'm done.
like,
But look,
that's the biggest black dragon.
yep, he's massive. And Zayden's, like just kind of like watching the whole situation.
And really, so then Taryn comes down. She's already gotten 2 of them. She got Jack in the shoulder, like, completely, like,
Yes.
ruined his shoulder with the blade, and then sees Taryn and was like, "I'm out," leaves the other 2. And then Xaden was there, though,
Mm-hmm.
be like but, like, he can't technically
Interfere.
do anything because
Yeah, like it's part of the codex. They can't do
yep, yep,
anything
and
to
there's the little
interfere.
dragon. I loved that Xaden, like, took a step. Like, he was going to, but he can't.
Yes, if he needed to.
Yes.
But then he was like, "Oh, she can kind of hold her own,
Mhm.
And like that
And then
was
ever
fun.
since getting with Taryn, it's like, "Oh, okay." And Taryn's like, "Hop on." She's like, "Ow."
Yeah, like how am I supposed to get on you because like you're huge, but like he like
But like, and he's like, "Go ahead." Puts his
yeah,
arm
he
out.
like
She's like, "You're not supposed to make accommodations for me." But he's
yeah,
like,
he
"I'm
like
choosing to be."
kneels his arm or like bends it, right? So she can like climb up it. And it's like he's like, just get on. Like Taryn is everything.
Yes.
Like
He's such
just
a
get on.
grumpy old man. He's like, "I'm middle-aged. I'm not that old," or
Oh,
whatever. And I'm like, because what Violet
okay.
and them, they're 20. So like
Yes.
they're older. This is like a college.
Yes.
So you have to keep that in mind when
Asgaia's
reading it.
War
So a
College.
war college. So it's very much still a drama, still with all of that, but
Yeah,
she's also
because
now having to learn how to ride a freaking dragon because, like, that's the whole thing is after they choose you, you hop on and you have to try to hold on. And
yep,
a lot of people still fall.
fall. And
And,
like
like,
if you
she
fall,
did, but Taryn still grabbed her. And
yep.
then all of a sudden, Andarna's over here talking to her as well. And she's like,
What?
"What?"
Because it's like unheard of that you
Yeah.
would bond with too. And like they come back and like everybody's like meeting about it, like why she can't have to.
Here
And
she
the
comes.
dragons are like, it's not up to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I also love about these books too, is that like you have the humans who they have their own set of rules, and then you have the dragons, and the dragons
Dragons.
are like, we're allowing you to do this. Otherwise, we
Yes.
could go.
Yeah, we could
Like
we
that
could
one.
be out of here. We don't need to be helping you. Like we could leave. But they like let her have both of them,
Yep.
right? And
Well,
so
because
like
Taryn's over there, like, I will blast all of you.
yeah, like we chose her, okay? Like we picked her and all the students are like why? Like she's
Ah,
weak, Jack is like irked. I mean,
he's pissed.
but yeah, so like even after that it's like back to school, right? So they have like classes on like war, on like flying, on battles and like
Yep.
training, right? But there's that night where like Taryn is like yelling into Violet's head when she's
Yes.
sleeping because you can still kill off other people because
Uh-huh.
there's only so many dragons and all these
Yeah.
students, so they all want a chance.
Mhm.
But that's when like we learn like she's being attacked in her room, but
Yes.
that's when we learn Andarna's power and she freezes
Time
freaking time, dude. And I
for like a
was
split
like,
second. Oh God, it was so
and
good.
then Zayden, Shadow Daddy comes in with his blades. I was like, oh dear.
Oh dear. And it's so
Oh
funny because even
dear.
before that, it's like they still are having interactions. She's still thinking that, oh God, he's gonna kill me at any
Yes.
point. But like it starts kind of progressing where you can definitely see, like, yeah, he hates her,
Yes. Well,
but
and then
he's starting
once
to
they
like,
learn like about Zayden's dragon Sagail
and
is
Taryn are
bonded
mated.
to Taryn, so like technically they are tethered through the bond. And
Yeah.
like it is spoken that if like Violet were to die, like
So it's
Xaden may
Satan
as
does.
well, and vice versa.
Yeah.
So it's like, and not to mention her mom like led the whole like thing with the marked
Oh yeah, she's
ones,
the one that had to like go off and kill his dad because Zayden's dad is the one that started the riot, like the revolution
like
or whatever.
the
Yeah,
rebels, the rebellion.
yeah, the
Yeah.
rebellion. And that's why Zayden has 171 cuts on him from like lashings, and that's
Flashes.
representation of all of the marked ones that are there at the school. So he
Yeah.
literally takes ownership. So if any of the marked ones steps out, like he is to blame,
Mm-hmm.
which sucks. And it's so funny because like later on in the books, like that's when Violet finds out what those are for, and she's like, "My mom."
Yeah.
Like, not that
Like
I
that.
like her, but
Yeah,
great.
but like I really don't like her now.
Yeah.
So, because they start to bond, right? They start to like do training, like
Wait, because like they have a bond with their dragons, so like they can talk to each other in head. But because of the mated dragons,
yes,
Xaden and Violet can talk mind
can
to mind
mind speak
too.
as well.
Yeah,
Um,
which is great in some scenes.
it's so great, and like a lot happens. Like then they start introducing a ton of like characters, right? Like while they're at school, like we learn like Ree's signet, she can like summon
Mhm.
things.
Wait, so we
That
have
one,
Wivri, who
yes,
she ends up taking over like Danes, so she starts to be a squad leader. But like at the time it's Ree, and then because of Xaden and having to protect Violet in some way. So we have Ree, we have Garrick, we have Bodhi, which Garrick and
hmm,
Bodhi, they're both marked ones, and Bodhi is actually Xaden's cousin.
yes.
And then we have Riddick, who we just love. Riddick. He is a
Everybody
little
loves Riddick.
playboy, funny dude. He
It's
will take
so
anyone.
great. Yeah,
He's like,
I
"Want to hook up? Cool.
cool. Good thing I
Don't care
fucked
what you
like a
are."
third year. I mean, that's totally Onyx Storm, but like
Oh my god.
it was a
And then you
great
have
line.
Imogen, who's a marked
Yes.
one.
And we kind of like learn their
Yeah.
signets as they go, right?
Yeah.
Like they don't like sit there and
Because
they're
they
like,
don't get them for the first time. Like it only manifests after you uh are chosen, after you bond with the dragon, and then it could be at any point of when it starts to come about.
but if you wait too long,
Yeah.
you'll explode.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
Yeah, if the dragon's like, you're not ready, like, you'll never be ready. Why did I
Yeah.
choose you type of thing? Like, it could kill you. It really
Yeah.
could. And then, but there's some where it's like, oh, you are ready when the person really isn't. And they start freaking out
Freaking
and
out.
can die that way because it's too much power.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
also on the fact that, like, depending on what the power is, there are certain powers, signets that they get where it's like, no,
Yes.
we just have to kill you. And that has been shown. I think
Like the dude that's full in Tiznik,
and
he just
Tisney, who can hear everybody's
all
thoughts.
Yeah, the professor just comes up and is like in front of everybody. You're like, oh, that's a
But
no-no.
he was going crazy. Like, how are you supposed
I
to
mean,
block out everybody's thoughts
yeah,
too?
everybody was like, help him. Like, and they were like, oh, all right, bye.
And like people in this squad have some secrets that we can't be getting
Hmm.
out, and of course they don't know how to shield yet.
Yeah, so it's like, and that builds within Iron Flame, right?
Yes.
So like, but like we get the war games in the
Mhm.
first book, and that's like when shit kind of starts like really popping off,
Yes.
in my opinion.
Yes, because War Games is towards the end of Fourth Wing, and it wrecked me because we love Liam. Liam is like a
Yes.
brother to Zayden,
He
and
he was like a brother to Zayden and he protected Violet.
yes,
He like
he was
would
on
go to her.
bodyguard duty for a bit, but like they
But like,
became
dude, he was her best
best
friend.
friend,
He went to
best friend.
the scribes with her. Like he was the shit. But yeah, it also wrecked me
It hurt so
because
much because of Jack fucking Barlow. Like
I know
first, like there was the whole thing with Jack anyway, and like
he's a
she
piece of
ended up
shit.
she ended up killing him, which was
Yes.
great. I was like, yes, yes, yes,
Because
yes.
we learn during this that she unlocks her power,
Yeah.
right? During the war
Lightning.
games. And yeah, Taryn's like, you yield or like lightning wielder. And I'm
Yeah.
like running around the house like, fuck, yeah, she wields lightning. Like I was like stoked about
Yes.
it. But yeah, so she wields lightning and it like hits like a tower rock and it
Yeah.
like Jack was
Crumbles
like,
Jack.
yeah, I mean he dead.
Yeah.
Okay. He's
He was
gone.
he be crumbled. And I was so happy. I was just
I
going
yeah,
at
I
it.
was like,
But then
finally.
another part of those war games, you turn around like a couple weeks later, they get sent out for like the second part or whatever, like the official whatever it was.
Yes.
But
Like the final test.
I'll come to find out they were set up
Yes.
completely, and that's when we learn about the wyvern and the venom, which
Yes.
everyone believes are fables.
Because they go outside Athenbine. I don't know that I'm even saying that
I
correctly.
want to say Athenbine.
Athenbine? Yeah.
Mm.
But yeah, that's when they realized that they were set up. Sorry, it got real dark in here. Bitch, I said stay plugged in. Oh, don't be a hoe. I just bought you. Okay. Um,
Fuck you. But yeah,
side
like they
thoughts.
go there and they
Yeah,
have to
and
find something, but then they meet up. Well, also through this, like we find out that Zayden and the marked ones are stealing from Basgiath and Navarre, well, Navarre in general, giving
mm-hmm,
the Griffin Riders
mm-hmm.
like the alloy hilted daggers or whatever because
Daggers,
that can those kill venom.
the wyvern and the venom. Yes. So like, and that's they realize like this is an issue, and like we haven't even talked about it in like battle briefs.
Not
Like,
at all because
cool,
Navarre's just
why are they
hiding it from
being
everyone.
so quiet about it? But yeah, so like the way it ends, you're like, oh my God, like, okay,
Finding out
Rebecca.
all of this nonsense.
But there was like a point, and I'm pretty sure it's in Fourth Wing where she like finds a letter from like her dad or
Yes.
like the fairy tale
Well,
thing.
yeah, because
Like,
because that was one of the books that he gave her or like
yeah,
wrote about talking about things, but
okay,
they were always about, oh, it's a fable, it's just the fairy tales. But then after this
yes,
war games and seeing the Ven and the Wyvern, like this is not a fairy tale. Like that's when it
this
started
is
to click,
happening, like real life.
and
Yes.
that's when she starts to go into the Mark ones. Like, yeah,
Yeah,
we need to do
territory.
something.
That's right. So,
Yep.
but yeah, so like they're battling venom and shit, and they
Hmm.
don't know how to, right? And like we learned that like the dragons are aware of them, and it's
Yeah.
like they were like Terrence kind of like, "We'll never pertain to y'all."
Yeah. You don't need to worry about it right now.
But that is how we lose Liam, and it is like a terrible loss.
It is devastating. And like seeing those interviews from Rebecca and everyone's like, why did you kill Liam? It's because he was the perfect character. He had no other character growth. so the only thing she could
Yeah,
do was kill it. I'm like,
that's
"You
because he was
coulda
already
kept
the best at everything, man.
that!"
But yeah, so like that's when Violet learns she can like kill the venom by striking like the wyvern, or she can
Okay.
kill wyvern if she strikes multiple wyvern if she
Yeah.
strikes their venom controlling them.
Yep, the one who created
Um,
them.
but
Mhm.
yeah, like all of the books like flip to Xaden's POV at the end, and I will say I'm not a fan of that.
No?
No, I don't like it. I it's such a drastic difference that I'm
Yeah.
always like, what? But like yeah, Xaden's like taking Violet to this like place to be healed and she doesn't know where
Orisha.
she is. Yeah.
Yeah, and then yeah, because, like, she got stabbed with the poison dagger.
Dagger. Yeah,
Yep,
and
and
like
so he's
it
like, "We
is
don't got time, we gotta go." And so
killing
brings her to
her.
Orisha, which is, like, or is it Tyrandor?
Mm-hmm.
One of those.
What?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think it's Arisha.
I think it's Orisha. And so it goes, that's where he has his place or whatever, and, like, that's his technically
Yeah. And
from Daddy-O.
the way it ends, you
Oh,
know.
hey, guess what? Who came back to mend you? Who was a mender of your
Your
family?
dead brother.
I was dropped. Dropped.
Huh? Just like, okay, bye. She was like, wait a year. I'm like, good thing I didn't
I
because
know. I mean, thankfully I did. Like I read Fourth Wing when Iron Flame came out. So like I
yes.
was able to go back to back, but we had to wait for Onyx. So that's like what really got me. But like
Yeah.
moving into Iron Flame, like now it's Violet has learned so much about what is happening about every.
Yes.
It literally picks up like right after Fourth Wing.
Yes. So like she like the book starts and she's like trying to like talk to Brennan and like process like she's pissed. Like,
Yeah,
I was dead. Like, and then like Brennan and Zayden are like
he's like,
discussing
hey,
battle strategy, and she was like, I thought this was a school thing, and they were like, no.
no. Oh yeah, and they had like a whole little council
Yeah, and they're
in
like,
Orisha too.
they're like, we think that like the Venom will attack Navarre soon.
Yeah, like how much time do we have? They're trying to extend the wards because so many
Yes.
civilians are dying, and like Navarre's not doing squat. They're just
Yeah, and
protecting where their wards are at.
we do learn when Violet goes out to see Taryn and Andarna has like doubled in size and
Yeah,
turned black. And
because
they're
she and
like,
Darna's like asleep through half of the book because
yeah,
she has to go to the deep
she
sleep.
goes to enter her dreamless sleep.
Yeah,
So and
dreamless
she,
sleep.
and Taryn's just like, leave her alone. I'm like,
Their
okay.
scales have changed. They're no longer golden. They're more of blacky sheen.
Blacky, shimmery, and like, yeah.
Yeah,
Um, but
and
yeah,
she's like,
so I like it's weird because they kind of like go back to the college like in time for graduation.
"Yep,
And then like Zayden calls out Colonel Atos, Dane's
mm-hmm."
dad, and like Violet's kind of like my mom would have nothing to do with it. Like there's so much
But that's where
freaking
we
drama.
But that's where we find out like really what Dane's signet is because isn't or it wasn't it Fourth May or was it Iron Flame? I thought it was Iron Flame.
I think it's no, it's Iron Flame. We don't
Yes,
find out
because when she comes
until
back, he's going, "What's going on? What's going on?" and like grabs her face. And it was like at
hmm
that time and she's like, "Get off me."
yes, like get the fuck
Because
off me.
you knew about going to that war games blah blah blah.
Yep. So then like it's essentially like next year in college.
Yeah,
So like they
second year now.
do the parapet, like conscription day, like they have a new like vice commandment,
Yeah.
Major Varish.
Yeah,
Um
we both
and
the
his
eye roll.
and his Dragon Solus like just burned some of the first years. It's like, okay,
Completely.
cool. We're still just crazy as hell. And like at this point, like Xaden and Violet are like in love, but it is a common theme throughout all three books that like Xaden doesn't tell Violet shit. And like whether
Yeah.
she's directly asking or not,
That's like the whole thing about Iron Flame is like, no, you're not getting those three words back until you can actually trust me. And he's over here like, you're now, and I get why he did it in Iron Flame because like now they have to go through this whole portion of like torture. What like
yeah,
having to block, having to do all this, but like they
yes.
literally get tortured.
And it sucks, like, because that is it's rough for
Like,
Violet.
and when she came back, like, she didn't tell anyone. She didn't tell her squad, her friends, and nothing. So there's this massive
Mm-mm.
tension between everybody. And then,
Yeah.
of course, with her, Erin was Zayden, because now Zayden has graduated. He's getting sent out to these other places, but the
Yep.
dragons, because of the mating bond, they can't
Hmm.
be away longer than
Too
7 days,
long.
really.
Yeah.
And
So
so, like,
she's always
every
like,
7 days, they're flying.
yeah, she's like, when are you coming back? When are you coming back? Like, even when she's pissed off at him, she's like, I miss him. And it's
She just
like,
wants them because, like, in Fourth Wing, like, they did hook up. They got together, and that's how she, like, broke the armoire, broke the table, broke, like, everything because
yes,
her power just boop, 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 and he
they
has to, like,
go
squash it with the shadows.
crazy. Yeah, I
It's
know.
then come Iron Flame, they're like, "No," and he's trying to be good, like, "We can kiss." But, like,
Yes,
until I can get those 3 words, like, I don't want anything that I'm doing to influence you to, like, forgive me or to,
at
like, to
all.
get to this point. And she's like,
Yes.
"Whatever." And then, like, halfway through the book, she's like, "Screw this. Give me some D."
Give me, give me the D.
They finally do. Oh my god.
But
I don't
yeah,
know.
so like Major Varish like tries to like keep them away, and that's like a whole thing. But we also learn a lot, and like we didn't talk about her, but Jasenia, one of the scribes,
Yeah.
she signs, but like she's been doing like low-key secret work for Violet,
Love
like
her for that.
looking for, yeah, like all these books because like Violet thinks her dad was onto something at this point and is like, I've got to figure this out. Um, but yeah, like it's like I mean, like Violet goes to visit Zayden, like Mira's there, and she's like, "You're protecting the wards too." Like, there's so much shit that happens. Like Ree is even like starting to put things together that like people at the war
Yes.
game are like basically being killed off.
Mhm.
Like the interrogation training was like this whole brutal thing. Like their powers are cut off, like their ability to speak to their dragons, like
Mhm.
but she uses like that special dagger that Zayden gave her to
Yeah.
unlock the door. And then all of a sudden we see Jack motherfucking Barlow's alive.
Because we're talking about, like, there's uh Nolan,
Yeah,
Nolan or whatever. Like,
Nolan
he's a
is like,
mender, he's a healer, and, like, he obviously knows Violet. But then it
yes,
comes to, like, we've they keep mentioning that, "Oh, he's looking so down, like, he's looking drained. What's going on?" Because they were bringing back
back the
Jack.
dead. Yeah, Jack of all
When Jack
people.
walked into Battle Brief, lost it. I couldn't.
I literally like I was at Chris's parents' house and I had my Kindle and I was running around their dining room like, are you kidding? Like I was just so
Yes.
upset. I was like,
Yeah.
I got rid of him and he's back.
Yeah.
Don't like it.
Mhm.
Um, but like, okay, so Violet like ends up telling like Riddick, and Sawyer all the
Like,
tea,
everything.
like all
Yeah.
of it. Like they're all of her best friends. Like we spill the tea, and Jasenia is like pretty much in on it too.
Yeah.
Um, they then get like Eric to come help,
Whose name is Cam, and
and
he's a
he's
freaking
on the
prince.
yeah, he's on the run. He's just like, I want to ride
He's like, "No
dragons.
one knows who
Like,
I am except for Violet because they've known each other because, oh, Violet dated Holden, his older brother, who's gonna be
yeah,
the
like
prince or whatever, the next king."
that'll come up in the next book too,
Yeah, but,
because
like,
it's a
but
whole
that's
thing.
how Violet knows who
Mm-hmm.
Eric is, and she's like, "I'll keep your secret."
I'll keep you a secret.
You do you, boo.
Um,
Don't get killed.
but then like there's because I'm pretty sure this one had like the part one, part two. Because like Zayden's basically like pick a side,
Oh,
like
yeah.
stay or like leave.
Yep.
And like half stay, like a few teachers fly to Arisha like to do the revolution. Like that's what
Mhm.
they're doing.
'Cause
Like
there's so much that happens in Iron Flame.
yeah, like dude,
That
it
we're
would be
not gonna talk about every
impossible to
single thing.
cover it. Like it would
Yeah.
be impossible to
Yeah,
cover
like, and
it.
there's a lot of things that you just need to read to experience that, but a lot happens. Like, she does get tortured. They go
Yes.
through that process, and then that special drink that Garrow's talking about is, it dulls their senses, so they
Like
can't use their signet, they
elixirs.
can't contact their dragons, nothing. So that she does that with the squad, but then she gets caught trying to steal something out of the archives, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Varish comes in and
And
then
he is,
keeps her for a week,
yeah, dude.
torture, like literally torturing her, breaking her bones, all of this
Terrible.
stuff. But like, guess who shows up to help her?
Dane.
No, Liam. She sees Liam.
Oh, that's right. I forgot she like sees Liam in that like, and she's like, I don't even know if like he's here, but he's like talking to me.
Yes.
And
That's
so,
a theory. Is like, was his
yeah,
ghost actually with her?
when I originally read that, I was like, she's hallucinating.
Same.
But then when I was done with all the books, I was like, was she hallucinating?
Yeah, was Liam like actually there? I don't know. Something inside of me tells me like he was there. Like Malik let him come
See
back and
her.
just be like keeping her safe because she has more to do, like one of those situations.
Yep, like we
But
cannot do this.
when
Like,
she opened her eyes, it like because I just when I read it, it was like one feeling, right? I was like, oh my god. But like I've been listening to the graphic audio. And when
oh,
I heard Liam's voice, like I just started crying all over again. I was like, Liam,
I can't do this again.
keeping her so
I
safe.
can't
But yeah,
do
but
it.
like after all of that, they go back. They're like, we have to warn everyone. Like they need to choose a side. And like
Yeah,
even some of the professors
well,
leave with them.
first
Like,
they bring like all of they like go and get the Griffin Riders too. And so that's where we like meet Kat, who like Zayden was once engaged to or like said to be married to. But like,
yeah.
yeah, so they like bring a bunch of Griffins and Riders and they're
Mhm.
basically like come back and help us and we'll like train you to like fly.
Yeah.
And then that's when they start doing like rune work and like
Yeah.
they really start like honing in their powers because like they're no longer in the mindset of like war college, but like we're
This is
about to go to fucking war like
war. Yeah.
any single day. Like they're kind of like counting down. Like,
Yeah, because like at first Brennan and them were like, "Oh, we have like 6 months," but like Navarre
mhm.
themselves are like, "We have time," and it's like, "No, we don't."
No, we do
But then,
not.
excuse me, but then after like they go through all this process, they keep fighting the Venom, blah blah blah. There's like a sage who's a
Yes.
Venom that keeps coming after Violet because like they want
Yes.
because of her signet. It gets crazy, but then they find out like how to actually activate and extend these wards towards
Hmm.
the end of the book, and that
Which takes a lot of research, but like,
yeah.
yeah,
Then they
it's
yeah, they get there and they can definitely do it, but they have to sacrifice life. Mommy Dearest comes in. I was
and
shocked at that. Not gonna lie.
I was like, really? Okay. Like I didn't see it coming. I was also
No.
shocked, but I was like, okay.
But it's like, and that's also when I think, wasn't it? That's when Brennan actually shows himself to Mira, and Mira's pissed.
Well,
Yeah.
and he shows his mom.
Yeah. Yeah. She's like, I'm
And
doing this for my kids.
yeah, and she's like, she essentially does it, but the Wardstone's like not quite like
Yeah, it'll hold
right.
up, but not for very long.
Yeah, so they're kind of at this point where like it's still like messed up because like the Wardstones are like still not fully intact. Like
Mhm.
they're still in battle, like with Wyvern and Venom. Like Venom are actually like trying to go after Violet now,
Oh yeah.
specifically.
Oh, and
Um,
totally skipped. Violet and Zayden went to that one island, and that's where they found what the venom was. Like Violet, full on, like they got to see the power,
what
what
it,
happens, and like learned
yes,
about like how you become a venom.
that's right. Yeah,
There's so much happening in Iron Flame.
it's
It can
so
get
much.
confusing, you know. But then
Like that's when Andarna learns she's a dragon slayer. Like she comes out of her dream and like there's so much
yeah,
cool stuff. Like it's
yeah.
just
Oh yeah,
it's
the venom, the wyvern. because her flame kills Wyvern.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah,
And
it's
the
pretty
elders are
crazy.
like, oh, okay.
Okay. And she's a
Like, dude, the
sassy
elder
teenager.
dragons are just, they seem like they'd probably like a stiff crowd to speak to, but it also
Yeah.
sounds like they're kind of like, all right, if you
All
have good
right.
cause, do you.
Yeah.
Um,
I just love it because yeah, once she wakes up fully from her dreamless sleep, she's now at like teenager sass.
but yeah, like
It's so good.
Jasenia ends up like just kind of like because there's a lot of like shit going on, right? But like Jasenia ends up like finding out through the books that like that whole like 6 plus 1 doesn't isn't people like they were thinking. It's that there's a seventh type
Yeah.
of dragon to breathe on like an
Into the
iron
ward stars.
flame
Yeah.
onto the ward stone. um and like that's when we kind of she starts to like burn out, and that's when her mom is like,
Gotta help.
whatever. But we also see that like Zayden's not quite right at the end
Yeah,
of that
because they were
book.
having to, while everyone's also doing the Wardstone stuff, he's out there having to try to save the civilians and like the
Hmm.
college and all of that
He's
stuff.
fighting, yeah. I
And
mean,
he may have taken too much power. He may have burnt out and had to go and take power from the land, and he starts turning into a.
yeah, he's got like
And
the
that's how
red
the book
green
ends.
eyes. Yeah, and then he's
He
like, be a
turns and looks at her, and he's red rimmed.
yeah. And then he's like, be afraid of me. And he's like, Jack, can we fix this? And Jack Barlow's like, no.
Yeah.
Because Jack is also like turned Venom at this
Yeah,
point.
he was
This
like, "Oh, hey,
happened.
guess what? This whole time I've been a Venom. Like, he's the one that's been talking and getting
Yeah,
things
and it's
out."
like again, the book has so much detail that it's like hard to get it all in there, but like oh, it's just great. And there's some wonderful, wonderful adult scenes in these books. I
Oh, you what? Like, she does a good job. And there's times like there's times where you are reading and there's the specific words. She doesn't use them a lot, so I'm thankful
mm-mm.
about that.
Yeah,
I'm very thankful because there's mm, but the fact that they can like talk to each other in their brain while doing, tell you what.
it's so hot.
That
Like,
says something else.
yes,
Gosh,
dude. All right.
oh my
Well,
god.
that's like
That's
rough.
like a brief synopsis,
Yeah, I
as
mean,
brief as
like,
we can get. There's so much more happening in these books, but Rebecca's world building,
it's
fantastic, I feel.
incredible.
I do feel like obviously if you're gonna read Onyx Storm, like we're gonna talk about that next, but when you read Onyx Storm, like reread Fourth and Iron because there are people in here that are can be easily missed that are more pertinent in Onyx Storm.
And she's adding more. So
Yes.
it's like, and she doesn't do a great recap. Like, that
No.
was something I wish I would have had from her for Onyx Storm, but like, yeah, you're gonna have to reread. I think we all are gonna have to reread next year. So,
Yeah, well, I don't even know if we're getting a new book next year because she's working on a separate
oh,
book.
that's
And
right.
then
Like,
she's coming to Onyx.
yeah, well,
It might be 2 years
I
before we get
can't wait that
whatever
long.
the fourth one. Ugh.
I don't have that much patience.
No, that's why I've been listening to
Overall,
the graphic novels or the graphic audio. Just like re-listening.
overall, like fantasy books with
Oh,
like a little bit of spice, like it's not a ton of spice. Like my
yeah.
husband listens to the audibles, also gets like very amped, very emotional.
Yeah.
Um, but like the spicy scenes are like short, and like so much other stuff is going on that when one happens, you're kind of like, oh, okay, like about time, like
Yeah.
built up to it, and you're like, oh, okay, but it's not like reading a smut novel, right?
No, no, like there's you these books you do need to pay attention. You need to
Yes.
pay attention to the world building and what she is providing you.
If you don't, you're gonna be like, I have no idea what is going on,
Yeah.
who, where's where,
All
what.
those TikToks of people starting Onyx Storm going, what?
Uh-huh.
What is happening again? Who is this?
Even even as like I had just read the books
Yeah.
like 2 weeks prior, I was still like, wait, because she immediately is like throwing we'll get there next episode.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for listening. We're
Yeah,
back,
we're
and
back.
we'll be back next week with Onyx Storm. Well,
Huzzah!
huzzah! All right. Have a great day.
Bye.